grab any of your objects that you would like to get started with. As I usually recommend, something that can act as a yoga strap, block, and a rolled up object to use for some core stuff. And we're actually going to start with a body scan standing. So if you like, you can adapt this to laying down, but you can come to stand. I'm just going to play with my camera a bit there. So find a way to be as grounded as you can and as comfortable as you can. Just take any shaking it off kinds of movements to get there. And plant your feet. General rule of thumb is getting the outer edges of the feet parallel, so you're internally rotating the thigh bones, and just tailor that to what feels good in your joints. And just rock back and forth as if you're placing your feet into, and we could do this, my neighbors were doing this today, wet soil to ground and begin to uptake earth nutrients. And begin to shift into this awareness of yoga ceremony. So this heightened quality of attention, this heightened quality of breath. And we'll come into the tripod of the foot. So one point is the whole of the heel. So in bare feet or minimal footwear, you can really get a sense of, are you pouring weight into the heel point, which is going to activate the posterior chain. And then feel into the base of the big toe mound, if it's rooted or not. And just giving yourself, just like you're going to make a little dent there, pressing. And then the third part of that tripod is the pinky toe side of the foot. Take a big breath in and then sending your energy down. So we're going to work with a practice that we do every so often, that the acronym is GAP. So getting in the gap. And the G part is grounding. And a yogic term for this could be tapasya. So this purposeful effort, in this case, pressing through the feet and then softening. So what part of this is your correct amount of effort? And so as somebody so generously shared in the check-in, sometimes the voice of depression, the voice of trauma tells us it's not enough. So teasing out, is it really not enough, or is that one of the unhelpful inner voices that you can shine the light on compassionately? And then the next piece of grounding is finding the front of the hips and then just giving a little bit of awareness there and just walking around to where it feels good. You can walk around to the back hip points and just waking up your awareness of this extraordinary piece of architecture of the pelvis, which is very much a part of grounding. And then from there, just getting the front hip points back over the ankles as best you can, getting weight into the heels and finding that sweet spot of effort of pressing through the heels so you're lighting up the hamstrings and the glutes. And then begin to come up to the sternum. So working with thymus, T cells, immune stimulation here. Just begin to take a little walk around the sternum. In Forrest Yoga, we use this term of warrior's heart, of the skill of metabolizing challenging things and being able to heal our own heart. And then walking up to this V structure, and then going about an inch down on a diagonal. So coming into some spleen activation here. You might notice a place that's calling for a little bit more activation. You can feel that out. Deep breathing. Exhaling long, softening the jaw. Softening the neck. So finding this grounding practice, what is our correct amount of effort to choose to belong, to choose to connect to earth energy. And then beginning to just walk. So we have some lung points here, some heart points. Just seeing where you can take your fingertips and walk around in a way, giving yourself some stimulation to where you feel drawn. And then coming into using the gift of the infinity symbol shape. And going to, this is great for charging your aura, for protecting your aura. So going to that figure 8 shape, either eyes closed or eyes open, one hand or two, could be small or big. Just seeing where you're charging your space with your effort, with your attention. And when that feels complete, pausing, and we'll come to the A part of the acronym, and we'll keep cycling through these three things of GAP, which we'll get to, is awareness. So taking some time here, and we'll work with our pranayama, inhaling, deep expanding of the ribs. If you like, use your fingers and hands to help you see, are you getting that move? Exhaling through the mouth. And coming into this awareness, when we begin to work physical movements, working the tissues, and then coming into subtle body awareness of the mind, the energy. And we'll come into a few rounds of what is called a breath of joy. So there's a number of ways to work with it, adapting it at your own point. So it's like 3 inhales through the nose, and then exhale through the mouth. So if you like, you could add in some movements, front, side, front. You can either come all the way forward or a little bit forward. And find your own pace here. Sniff, 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 exhale. Do a couple more, 1 or 2. And then come on back to your awareness practice. And then the P in this acronym is presence. So this teaching, it's talked about in many different beautiful ways, but one of them is when we do the correct action, ground ourselves, we learn to pay attention that presence arises. And presence like grace or a spiritual awakening or some kind of thing that is a gift of our efforts. So just seeing where we can keep playing with, putting in the right effort, paying attention, and then being curious about what arises and being willing to receive that, right? So let's start with swinging arms like ropes. Let the jaw go, flutter the lips. Change it in any way. If you have some more to throw away from the heart and all that meridian work that we started with. It can be more vigorous or gentle. So feel into, are you mobilizing the shoulder blades? And then pause, get the armpits hollow, and listen, pay attention, seeing with your awareness what is available here. And then taking a bit side to side. You can tap the kidney or let it be smaller. Let the movement eventually come from the pelvis so the arms are coming along for the ride. And then again, taking these mini, think of them as mini shavasanas perhaps. Do nothing, receive, pay attention. Come back to the tripod of the foot to send your energy down. Next move is candy wrapping the shoulders. So I'm going to mirror you guys. So let's do left arm up, right arm internally rotate. So like you're holding something on the bottom hand. Take an inhale. There's a number of ways to work the lower body. So for today, you could come onto the top of the foot and roll the knee in. You can skip that part if it's tweaky at all. And begin to straighten the arms. So you can play with where do you get into stimulating that meridian area. So thymus, spleen, heart, and lung. Spreading your awareness of the way the muscle wraps around the bone. Come low if you're feeling playful. And getting into the top of the foot there, getting into plantar flexion. And then come back through center. Let's do right arm up, left arm comes down. And then come onto the top of the foot, roll the knee in, begin to straighten the arms to your degree. You can play with the angle, see how it gets into different areas. Feel into the opening you're getting and play with how you might want to come down a bit or not. Exhale completely. If you want to bring some energy up, you can stay with breathing through the nose and exhaling through the nose. If you need to move energy out, stay with exhaling through the mouth. Come back through center, one more time on each side. Left palm up, right arm down. Come onto the top of the foot, bend the knee. Playing with straighten the arms. Come back through center. Right arm up, left arm down. Roll onto the top of the foot. Begin to straighten the arms. And then come back to center. Take a pause here. So we're going to work with something that's about building the warrior's heart. So we haven't done a ton of warming up, so make it your version. I'll show it from the side. Come into a warrior one stance. So let's do right foot forward, left foot back. Point the toes out. Bend into the front knee. You can also come onto the ball of the foot. So this is an exercise I learned from Becoming Safely Embodied about orienting towards a grounding practice, getting out of that sometimes trauma space of feeling like you're lost in time. So you can come forward, pressing the hands together, looking at some plant on your planted point on your fingers, inhale, and then keeping the eyes on one point, pulling back, reaching forward as you pull back. Come forward, press hands together, and seeing where you can pull in that quality of moving with purpose and direction that a warrior does. Like you're pulling back on a bow and arrow, reaching forward, hands pressed, pull as you push. Kick through that back leg, light up the low glute so you're finding that posterior chain. Do a few more at your own pace, setting eyes to one thing, sensing your skull bones relaxing so you can take in your environment, even though you're looking at one thing. And then take a moment in between sides. Other side, right foot forward, left foot forward, right foot back. Kick through that back leg, light up the hamstring and the glute. Arms reach forward, press the hands together, inhale, and then pull. Feeling those developmental movements of pushing and pulling simultaneously. Giving the nutrients of warrior's heart to where you need that in your psyche. Do one or two more on this side. And then reset, come back to center. And then take any movements to integrate that or find stillness. Come on down to your back. Have an object, if you have it handy, to work with some core stuff. And we're going to work with some arm glides, so option to use blocks for those if you like. So come into half shavasana, laying down. So coming back to our acronym grounding. So in this case, press into the feet. Begin to get a sense of back, bottom, ribs melting into the floor. And then if you're going to use some props, you can bring one block into each hand, palm facing up. And if you're going to use the prop between the legs, you can take something to squeeze between inner legs. You can do it without just using the intention. And then feel for using the floor as a resource to help you come into that grounding practice. Picking your blocks up off the floor if you're using them. Inhale across back, bottom ribs, into side ribs, and then on exhale, squeeze prop. Glide the arms out and up like you're making snow angels. Inhale, arms come back by the torso. And then on exhale, squeeze prop, curl pubic bone towards navel, low belly pulls in, arms glide out and up. Keep going, finding your own pace. Inhale, exhale, glide the arms out and up. Curl pubic bone, squeeze prop. Doing about 3 or 4 more at your own pace. And then when you are ready, rest your props. Either place feet together, knees wide, or knees together, feet wide, placing the hands on the torso somewhere. And then practicing paying attention, being curious about what arises in presence. Then the very advanced practice of being willing to receive, being open and able to receive. And then from there, let's come into a bit of hip stabilization. So with your inhale, broaden ribs. Exhale, pick up the right foot, knee over hip, low belly pulls in. Stay there, inhale. Keep the hips as stable as you can. Take the knee out into half frog, pull the low belly in. Inhale, leg comes back to center. We'll do that one more time. Exhale, knee comes out, knee stays in line with frontal hip, low belly pulls in. Come back to center. Inhale, broaden into side ribs, back ribs. Exhale, pick the knee up over the hip, pull the low belly down. Inhale again. Exhale, take the knee out, keep that right hip on my side wants to come. I'm going to pin my hip back down, low belly pulls in. Knee comes back to center, inhale. Exhale, knee comes out to the side, low belly pulls in. Both feet flat, inhale. Exhale, right knee up, low belly pulls in, stay there. Knee comes out to the side. Low belly pulls in. Inhale back to center. Exhale, knee comes out into your half frog. Low belly pulls in. Come back to center. Stay here and then press. Bring the hands onto the quads on the right side. Inhale, shoulders relax. Exhale, press hands into thigh. Press thigh and hand, low belly pulls in. You can let that go. Straighten the leg and then slowly tap the heel across the floor. Take a moment, see what that did. And we'll take that to the other side. Inhale, broaden the side ribs. Exhale, pick the left knee up over the hip, low belly pulls in. Inhale. Exhale, left knee comes out to the side into half frog. Inhale back to center. Exhale, knee comes out, low belly pulls in. Inhale back to center. Hands onto the top of the left thigh. Shoulders relax, neck relax. Inhale. Exhale, press hands into thigh. Press thigh into hand. Resist. Low belly engages. Straighten the leg, feeling into the front of that hip. Tap the heel down, leg straight, and then tap a few more times. Take a feeling breath here. And then let's come into bridge. So feet underneath knees or else a little bit forward. Relax the arms, lift the hips. Coming into that sweet spot of what is the effort that helps you find the glutes and the hamstrings. Find space in the pelvis without over-efforting. And you could press the elbows down to lift the sternum, keeping the breath going. See if you can connect to the tripod of the foot. So finding your grounding actions, paying attention to what shows up, and being curious about what arises in presence. Let's come into one round of Uddiyana here. So taking a deep breath in, exhale everything out. Keep the breath out, pull the belly back, lower down, relax the belly, inhale. And then keep all that space, give yourself some time, windshield wipering the thighs, side to side to see how you can integrate your floor work. And then on our way up, we're gonna pause in lounge lizard. So either with your block or your blanket, grab onto it behind, between the thighs, and kick through the legs. So you're sending the thigh bones towards the feet. And then use this to really get onto the outer hip in a way that it can be difficult when you're standing to really feel what's going on there. What's your feeling connection to the outer hip? Grab onto your prop and roll the thighs in like you're sending the prop to someone behind you. Lengthen the rib cage away from the hips. And then keep that, using the fingertips to the sit bone muscles, kick, light up the hamstring insertion and the low glute. You can play with pointing and flexing to see how that affects your awareness. And then take it to the other side. So you can just roll over for the sake of demoing. I'm going to switch sides. Grab onto your prop. Kick the thigh bones towards the bottom edge of the mat, flex the feet, and then get onto the outer hip. Notice what shows up even without a foam roller. Lengthen the side body. And then from there, like you're gonna send that block to someone behind you. Do that. Roll the thighs in. Keep that and then use the back line of the leg. You can use fingertips to the hamstring insertion, low glute to see, am I getting that contraction? Play with pointing and flexing. And then take a moment there so you're breathing into the torso, into all of the organs on the left side there. Stomach is there, depending if you're on the left side. Liver if you're not. Come up to your tabletop. Bring your awareness to the bony landmarks of the pelvis as your grounding tools. Pressing into the shins. Using that metaphor of wet earth, pouring weight into the whole hand. Broaden across the back, bottom ribs, and then lift from the back ribs. Let the head hang. Come back through your neutral spine. Press the back of the head towards the ceiling and the crown of the head forward. Inhale. Exhale, lifting. Sit bones move towards calves. So you're doing pelvic tilts on hands and knees here. And then from here, let's do some thread the needle. So keeping the pelvis as stable as possible, press the ground away with the right hand, pull, feeling that similar action to our warrior one movement. Reach up, open the upper back, and then dial it through, tap, and then come back up. Pulling back as you're pushing the ground away, reach up, take it through. Find your own pace here. And then take one circle forward. Take any other movements that warm up the shoulder, the chest, the upper back here. And then switch sides. Take a moment in between in your awareness practice. Press the ground away with the left, pull with the right, reach up, moving the shoulder blades away from each other, stretching the chest, and then take it through. Keep the hips as square as you can. Come back up. Changing this in any fashion that suits what you're working with today. Be open to what arises in presence, making yourself available. Deep breathing. When you're ready, taking one circle forward or backwards, playing with it, and taking some improvised movement here. Release both hands. Sit back into child's pose. Stretching the hands forward, feeling contact with the ground, and then taking your time, walking over to the left, pressing into the right hand, pressing down and forward, and then pressing into the left hand, pulling back, mobilizing the scapula, and then switching. Press down and forward with the left, pull with the right. Just feel how that affects the scapula, the shoulder girdle. Walk back through center. Take it to the other side. Press down and forward with the left. Press down and pull with the right. And switch. Come on back to center. Come back through tabletop. And we'll come into dolphin with palms up, option to keep knees down. So elbows come right under shoulders. Wrap around triceps and then bring the palms facing up. Stretch across the hands and just the same cue as if you were trying to make a print of the back of your forearms and hands. Shoulders away from ears. Lift up between shoulder blades. Press into the shins and the tops of the feet. Bring the front ribs towards the back ribs. Press the ground away with the upper arm bones. As if you're trying to stretch your mat wide. Pull the mat wide, see what happens. You can fist the hands and then reopen them. From there, come back to tabletop, take a listening breath. From here, next pose is downward facing dog. So hands come forward, hands with distance, shoulders as soft as possible. Press the ground away like you mean it. And then from there, finding your grounding move. So Feet active, spreading your awareness through your feet. Bring the front of the pelvis back. When you are ready, walking the feet to the hands and the hands to the feet to come into Uttanasana. Feet can be hips width distance or a bit wider. Take some time to see where you can deepen the hip hinge, letting the inversion be a support here. Either letting the head hang completely or looking towards the mat. From here, bringing the hip points back as much as you can, knees over ankles as much as you can, and come up with a flat back. And here we are back. Tadasana. See where you feel different. Bringing the hands to touch, either spreading through the hands or any other shape here. And then lifting the ribs, lifting an imaginary ball, opening the front of chest and shoulders, soft knees, hips back, forward fold. Inhale, let's come into a lunge. Left leg is coming back, untuck the toes. Press into both feet and then lift your imaginary ball. From here, bring the hands down, step back in a plank. Lowering down, finding that right amount of effort. Reach back through the legs. Coming through cobra, hands peel the chest forward and up. Reach the heart forward to come down. And then press the ground away into down dog. Left leg comes forward into lunge. Press the ground away and lift up. Press into both feet. Lift the pubic bone. Frame the front foot. Come on up. Either coming up, rounding up, or with a flat back. Keep the knees back over the ankles. Lift the ribs. Open chest and shoulders. Hands come to touch. Take a breath here. And then from here, we'll come into another round with some variations. Sweep up. Lift the ribs, make space. Exhale, fold. This time, right leg is stepping back. And really hone in on that plantar flexion. Press into the top of the foot. Bring the hands onto the tops of the thighs. And just give yourself some time to see what information you're getting here in the hips. From there, bring cradling. Interlace the hands. And then wrap the elbow tips forward. Press the back of the head into the hands. Let some resistance build and then let go. Fill all the way up into the uppermost lobes of the lungs. And then from there, back the hips up. Let's come into a twist. So squaring the hips, lifting ribs, come forward. You can either plant the hand down inside the foot or bring the elbow outside the thigh. So finding your twist here, that left hip tracks out, you're gonna track it back. And then see where you can use this to unfurl your spine. Bring the back of the head back. Maybe you reach up. Take another breath here, seeing what shows up in your twist. And then let yourself come forward, step back into your plank. And we'll come through a Shalabhasana variation, lowering down, reaching back, pressing into the tops of the feet, hamstrings, insertion, and sit bones. So boat with hands on sit bones. Lift the legs. And release. Take a feeling breath here. You can press your hands into the ground and then let go to feel that contact more. Come through into down dog. From here, right leg is coming forward, either to the outside of the hand or inside of the hand or somewhere in between. Press into both feet. Bring the hands onto the thighs. You can do a little bit of that press and release that we did in the core work. Press and then let go. And then come into the opposite interlace. Kind of massaging the skull bones as you're working here. Wrap, elbow tips forward. Press head into hands, hands in the head. Lengthen skull bones away from the top of the spine. Keep coming back to your basic moves. Those are your main grounding practices. Active feet and hands, deep breathing, relaxed neck. And then bring the torso up a bit to set up for your lunge, making these two 90-degree angles. Front hip point and back hip point aligned. Lift up in a way that you feel that lengthening through the core. Come forward and either hand inside the foot or hands connected. Either way, feeling to where is your sweet spot to get into your spine. That hip wings out, tracking hip back, unfurling the spine, bring the back of the head back to your degree. If you're reaching up, spreading through your active hand, moving the shoulder blade towards the ceiling. From there, lowering down, another Shalabhasana variation, lowering down to the floor. Reach back. So bring your hands to tented fingertips at shoulder height, and you can adjust this wider or forward. Keep the legs solid as if you were still holding the sit bone point, and then peel the chest forward and up. If it feels tweaking your wrists, you can use flat hands. That feels pretty good to me right now. Lowering down. And then inhale, come up again. Look underneath one arm, look back towards the foot. Come back up, other side. Take that side to side a few times. Keep breathing. And then come into your crocodile. Actively use this pose to connect to your grounding. You're literally on that belly to earth plane. Hands come back, under shoulders, shoulders away from ears, press the ground away. Down dog. Let's come into Archer Warrior One. So left leg is coming forward. A prop can be very useful here, a strap. So again, either turning the toes to about 45 or 60 degrees or coming onto the ball of the foot. Let's do left arm down, right arm up. And then once you're there, ground yourself. Kick into the ground like you're kicking the ground away. Lift pubic bone. On the back leg, contract the low glute. Inhale into right shoulder, exhale. Wrap the bicep towards the ear, reach the elbow up. Take a big breath into the left side. On exhale, contract the shoulder blade down. Bring the bicep towards the torso. And then you know your struggle spots best. What do you do when you're over efforting? So watching for those habits, dialing it back if you're using your jaw instead of your feet. From there, releasing the bind. Keep breathing. Let's come into some bird wings. So palms up, palms parallel to the floor. Inhale. Exhale, forearms come out, elbows tweeze in like you have something precious in your armpits, shoulders and shoulder blades down. Inhale. Exhale, forearms come out, elbows tweeze in, shoulders down, shoulder blades down, kick into the ground. One more, inhale. Exhale, squeeze and drag down. From there, straighten into the front leg, and we'll come into a pyramid variation. So if you're not already on the ball of the back foot, shift onto that. This is a good time to use some blocks. So just both legs straight. Lengthen the spine forward. Track the front hip point back, roll the right inner thigh back, and then fold. And then teasing that out. Rebend the knee, lengthen the spine again. Straighten the leg and fold. Rebend the knee. Lengthen the spine forward. And then this time, let's come into vertical splits. Hop the back foot in. And then again, getting very specific. Outer edge of the foot parallel. And starting with some micro lifts in different directions to see how it mobilizes different muscles. It recruits different strengths or compensations. And then maybe take some of the bigger moves, circling the hips, so making it an improvised movement. And then when you're ready, find some stillness, paying attention to what shows up. Shoulders away from ears, let the head go, either looking towards the navel or looking towards the ground. Tap the back foot down and take yourself through a transition, coming through your plank. You can feel free to take up dog here. I'll talk us through cobra, lowering all the way down. Strong legs, reach back, keep that, peel the chest forward and up, feel the rib cage moving away from the hips. Press back into down dog. From here, right leg is coming forward, taking your strap with you. Either pivoting that foot out or turning onto the ball of the foot. This time, right arm is down, left arm is up. Either connecting the hands or getting a hold of clothing or your strap. And again, kick into the ground, lift the pubic bone, give your legs breath support. Take a big breath into the left shoulder and then wrap the bicep towards the ear, reach the elbow to the ceiling. Take a big breath into the right arm and then contract the shoulder and the shoulder blade down. Keep feeling that reach in both directions as hopefully good medicine for the shoulders and the heart, making space. Releasing the bind. And then from there, pivoting onto the ball of the back foot if you haven't already, straightening both legs, pyramid variation. Spreading into that tripod of the foot on the front leg, rolling the inner thigh back. Extend the heart forward and then fold. Rebend the knee, crown of the head reaches forward, lengthen the spine, and then fold. Do that a few more times at your own pace. And then from there, hop the back foot in. Perhaps lower your blocks and then go slow. Shoulders away from ears, getting accurate information here. Just start by kicking the ground so much that the left leg floats up. And then begin to experiment. What happens when I try different directions? Bending the knee, and then taking it more into the fuller expression of the pose to your degree. Using the heat to create warm releases where you need them. And then from there, step back, take yourself through a vinyasa. Or come right back into down. From your down dog, looking forward and then either walking or hopping to the front of your mat, coming back up to stand. And we're going to come into a variation on hand passes. So you can step wide Coming into horse stance. So wrists over ankles, pivot the toes out. Feel free to make it narrower. And then coming into your awareness of the pelvis, getting the front hip point and the back hip point in the same plane. Give your arms a shake. Let the arms relax down. And then this time coming into spirals, which is also a powerful symbol, as is the infinity symbol. And keeping your breath going. Again, either one hand or both hands, sensing you intentionally experiencing your space, protecting your space. They could be small spirals, big spirals, either direction. See what feels better. When you are ready, coming to a pause, straightening the legs. And then either in 5-pointed star, or the arms could be more like warrior two. See where you can get a sense of this kind of power pose. Grounding, paying attention, and being willing to let go enough to allow grace to surprise you. When you're ready, rebend the knees. Let's do some twisting horse. So hands onto the quads, slide one hand inside the thighs, you twist to one side, and then take it, let it grow in increments. You can do more and more of a twist as you are working into the pose. Feel for lengthening the ribs away from the pelvis. And then again, when you're ready, straighten the legs, using this as your listening pose, 5-pointed star, or some variation where you're being willing to open up and receive. Maybe you look up. When you're ready, reset the feet to toes facing forward. Hold on to the hips, press down, connect through that posterior chain, lift up, and then either stay here or interlace the hands using your strap or your hands. Either way, so you're getting into the uppermost chest. Using your hands actually can be really nice too, doing more of that stimulation. That feels pretty good. Take about 5 extraordinary breaths here. So I'm not pushing, honoring the organic rate of opening up the breath. Getting into the information that's available in the sticky parts of the breath rather than just trying to override. From there, come back up. We'll come into a forward fold. So we're moving the spine in 6 directions, ultimately fold forward. Keep the legs solid and then walking side to side. So taking a more fluid approach to this shape as well today. Experimenting with where you're guided to hang out for a little longer. When you're ready, walk the hands over to the right side, shift to legs of low lunge, and we'll come into lounge lunge. So you're gonna hold on to the front of the right shin and then plant the left hand underneath the shoulder. So this is a psoas stretch, a hip flexor stretch that goes way up into the thoracic spine. Hand comes on a diagonal. You can bring the forearm onto a block, And then keep the hip back, slide the ribs forward and towards the ground. So it's an unusual pose, it's an integration pose. Give yourself time to breathe into the torso. Relax the neck. Take a couple more breaths there. And then when you're ready, we're going to take it right to the other side. So you could come back through center, however you want to get to the other side. Left leg forward, legs of low lunge. Hold on to the front of the shin, hand under shoulder. And then walk that hand anywhere from 5 to 15 inches on a diagonal. Slide the ribs forward and towards the ground while the hip stays back. So you're reaching back through that leg. And then feel for relaxing the gut as much as you can. Unwind your lounge lunge and then find your way to a seat. So we're going to do some eye and some neck stuff. You could take your glasses off, find a as comfortable as possible seat. Take some shoulder rolls. And then from there, bringing your index fingers together. Take some breathing here. And then bring your index fingers out to the side till you can see both of those fingers. So my spot is going to be about here. Deep breathing. Letting yourself come back to your basic moves, relax neck, deep breathing, and then begin to alternate, just like we do the diagonal exercises, coming back and forth, side to side, back and forth, back and forth. Close eyes, relax the arms, take a full breath in. Hold your breath for your degree of comfort and then let it go. And then we'll do sometimes these are called pencil push-ups. We'll do that with our index fingers. So bring index fingers together in front of you, breathing. And then keep focusing till you bring it into your nose and then go back out. Keep breathing and focusing. When you are ready, closing eyes, take a full breath in, relax the hands down, inhale. Hold your breath for your degree of comfort and then complete exhale through the nose. Start circling the nose. Getting very specific with what it is your neck needs in terms of pace and size of the circles. Feel for what did that do to your eyes and your brain to work with the eye exercises. And then to whatever degree is possible, let the grace of your true self and who you were born to be to travel up and out through your eyes. Even if your eyes are still closed, setting that intention, switching directions. And then looking around and seeing what's possible with clearing your eyes. So this yogic term of netra prakash, so the eye, netra prakash, light. When we can ground, pay attention, and then allow presence to arise is how that brightness can come back. And just seeing what part of that can you do today. And letting yourself rest in that presence of who you were born to be. Setting yourself up for Shavasana. In the most grounded and nurturing shape you can find. Letting your bones be heavy. Recognizing that everything that makes up your physical body is also in the earth. Letting yourself belong to the ground. Finding a quality of a blank canvas. Beginning again. Beginning to feel the ground and breathe in a way that uptakes earth energy and also send your essential energy down into the ground. So this reciprocity of giving and receiving. And then allowing your awareness, this most precious gift of our attention, and feeling that investment in yourself and each other, of giving that gift, thanking yourself for that. And then this term of surrender, Ishwari Pranidaha, surrendering to your definition of a higher power, of the infinite, of basic goodness. Letting yourself be held by something much greater than your individual self. And then taking all of that, rolling yourself onto one side when you're ready. Bringing yourself back up to a vertical axis. And taking all the time you need to come back to either prayer hands or any other gesture to seal our time together. Thank you for sharing your practice.
Thank you, Karuna.
My pleasure. And happy birthday to our beloved Lisa.